Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 10 here in the Systematic Factory out in the Oceania cluster. We are watching our Pacu farm. Our Pacu farm is running great. They're eating all my algae up slowly, and they're producing eggs. I'm already up to 15 eggs here. I got 10, 12 Pacu sitting over here, so everything is back up to running. We got another couple of eggs up there. So this is going to run great for now. Again, we're going to have to figure out a way to get sustainable algae, but that's future Ender's problem. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is work on getting surf and turf now that we have barbecue and cooked seafood back on the menu. So to do that, the first thing I need to do is set up more research, because we have some research to do. And in order to do that, I have decided, instead of just throwing together some research, let's come up with a better research building for the future. So there is a laboratory building. Gives an efficiency bonus. I'm assuming that works for research buildings. That's probably what it means by science buildings. I think that also was like the telescopes, things like that, but we'll find out. Construction on our laboratory is finished, and our researcher bird person is doing the research. Well, all you need for the laboratory is a room that is between 32 and 120 tiles, and it has light in it. So I did that. Now we have a laboratory, which increases our efficiency here. And that is, I left enough space in it so I can add new buildings, because there are other science buildings I want to add. So I just figured I'd make space for it ahead of time. So this is all set up. We're doing research. We've already finished our research on the gas range, which is what we came in for. And it also, now has the dehydrator and the rehydrator, which I'm excited to get messing around with. And we're researching the new creature comforts buildings from the new update. These are the buildings that I want to use in our farms, so that we can, in our ranches, stables, whatever, words are hard. We're going to use these in there to try them out. They each give a +1 bonus to happiness for our critters. So I left space in Pacu farms to put them in. Let's check this out and see. Oh, we're up to 27 eggs. That's great. This one, oh, this is set wrong. This needs to be below 5 let eggs in. These are set right. Okay. That's why this one's empty. No problem. We have plenty of Pacu over here. You can see that we're definitely doing the work of turning algae into fish. Right now, our dupes are working on running a line from our natural gas geyser up here. Last time at the end of the episode, I was building a liquid lock to get in here, and I just wasn't fairly paying attention. I'd already put all that stuff in when I sealed this up, so I didn't need to get back into it. I just ran the lines. I have power to it. This is set to send out gas anytime it's over 500 grams, and so we're sending natural gas down. Oh, I guess I have polluted oxygen in there? I guess I did have polluted oxygen in there. It's not a lot. I'm just going to let it go, because we'll just have to do some repairs. So what we want to do is put in our gas range. And our gas range we're going to put right here. Put it over one more. The gas range is what we're going to use to cook our seafood and barbecue into surf and turf. So what it needs is a line in from here. Let's go across the top of the... let's go one higher. Come down like this. That way I don't have to get back in there to do it. But you know what? I should make this... Not that I think it's going to be an issue, but let's make it out of steel, because I have some. That way we don't have to worry about any possible overheat issues. We also want to put in power for it. And what's our power situation here? So this is saying we're at 3335 because it's going to both of these farms. But whenever you're dealing with the mechatronic stuff, it always says too much because, yes, each of these is 480 watts, but they never are all firing at once. So I think I can fit this on that line. If not, if I get overloading, I can run another line down from the power plant up above. So let's just connect it for now. And another thing I want to put in is a sweeper. I want to see if I put one here. I think it only needs to hit the middle tile of the gas range. So if I put one right here, it should be able to grab the food as it comes out of the grill and take it and put it directly into the gas range so that our duplicates just have to come up and cook it. They won't have to grab it and supply it. It should keep our tasks at a minimum. Okay, so it's only going to take them a few seconds to get this built, and then we can get it tested. We have a few more insulated gas pipes for them to install too, which they're working on. Can they reach all of those is the question. Sure can, that's great. So one more from the outside. And all we need is for have our gas range built. So when we are looking at surf and turf, we have 6,000 calories from it, and its quality is great. And if we compare that to the cooked seafood, the quality is good, and it's 1,600 calories. And the barbecue is 4,000 calories, and its quality is good. So we're taking two good quality foods that equal 5,600 calories, and we're combining them in the gas range with a little bit of natural gas, and we get food that is higher quality and a little bit more calories. Not a lot more calories, but a little bit, and every little bit helps. But then the other thing is all of them spoil in 4 cycles. So once we get this set up and we start making the surf and turf, we need to worry about spoilage. And so normally I would set up a deep freezer, and I probably will set one up at some point here soon, so that I can have a spot to store our extra barbecue and cooked seafood in case it doesn't get cooked right away. But we'll see if we end up having that. What we're going to do now, because of the new update, is we're going to work on doing a new building with the dehydrator and the rehydrator. To get to that, we need to set up some plastics. And so after we get this set up and we can run it... Oh, I just noticed I never put any new suits in these spots. But after we get the gas range running, we will work on making some plastics so that we can start using the dehydrator to dehydrate our food, and we will set up a spot for the duplicates to get the food rehydrated and see how that works. Got some surf and turf cooked up. We have some more being cooked now. We do have a little bit more polluted oxygen in our pipe here that is gonna damage our gas range, but we'll just repair it. There's no sense in trying to filter it out when it's just that little bit, and then it's done because the line is clean now. I did also extend the line down, so it comes all the way down here and over this way, and I set up some piping here to make it so that the gas coming from that geyser will take priority here over the gas coming from our oil well, simply because this is already basically infinite storage. We can keep overpressurizing these rooms if it backs up. So I'd rather use the gas that I need to keep moving first, because any time that the geysers get overpressurized, they stop producing natural gas. So we have the natural gas that has built up in that geyser coming first. It'll hit this line, it'll fill it up, and then it will come down here and dump into our power supply. And now we have even more natural gas to keep us in power. Put this marker here because this is where I'm going to start with my plastic production. So let's just build a ladder to get up to it to help them with building this stuff. Eventually, we're going to have our plastics inside of a big industrial block that we are going to build. But I do not want to build that yet today. So what we're going to do is we need to do a couple of rooms in order to get plastics going. First, we need to be turning oil into petroleum using the oil refinery. And then we need to take the petroleum and we need to run it through polymer presses in order to make plastics. We're just going to set up a small system for it now. Because we're going to do... We'll do more later once we set up our cooling, but it's not the focus of what I want to do today. But I'm going to keep in mind that this is going to be a system we're going to be using later, so I'm going to add in some future-proof stuff for it. So when we do the oil into petroleum, what we use is this oil refinery building. We're going to make it out of steel so it doesn't overheat. And it's going to go right here in this room. And then the room that it's in, we're going to want to make it so that it's sealed. Because this refinery, much like the oil wells, is going to pump out natural gas. And I kind of picked right here for it, because then we can just run the natural gas right into our natural gas generators down here. But what we want to do is make this a sealed room so that we can... Let's leave a hole here so they can get through to build this whole thing. So that they can get into it and run the refinery, but then the only gas in here will be natural gas and we can just run it in without filtering it. So we also will need to have a pump in this room, because we're going to pump it out. And then we're going to want some automation on that pump. So we only send it out when it's pressurized. The last thing that we're going to want is some storage. So we're going to run... Let's do 2 lines of petroleum, or 2 reservoirs of petroleum. So we'll have the output will come up here to these, and then we'll have the input, or the input will go to those, and then this one here will have to go to get to oil. So I have this line here that we had used earlier for pumping out the water. I left it in because I knew I was going to have to run a line. So we're just going to connect to it. And then down here, where we have a huge amount of oil, we're going to put in a gas pump. Or not a gas pump, a liquid pump. And then we will connect that up to the correct line here. It's already on the power grid because it's connected up there. And so once we get that put in, let's convert these to insulated pipes. Once this gets done, we'll be able to pump out crude oil through this liquid pump up to that room. I made that out of gold. Gold's fine for now. And then it'll come up here to the refinery, where the refinery can turn it into petroleum, and the petroleum will get stored into the tanks. Last thing I want to do is we want to put a lock like this. So then we're going to put a bottle emptier on it like this, so we can fill that up. And close it like that. And then we'll make this room bigger, but we need to do space for us to do our polymer presses. Polymer presses are also under refinement. We definitely want these out of steel, because otherwise they will overheat. I always put 2 together, that way they can work together, and I rotate them. That way they drop their plastic in the same spot. And They're going to drop out. These are going to pump out carbon dioxide, and they're going to produce steam. The steam is just going to turn into water on the floor, and we'll just let it sit there until it builds up. We'll deal with it if it gets too much at some point, but it should be fine for now. And that is that. And then we want to do one last thing, and that's that I want to have access to petroleum in a pitcher pump so that I can use it if I want to use it for locks and things like that. So then we're going to put this here. We'll put a hydro sensor right underneath it. And then we will close that off. So now let's just bring these ladders over for now. Eventually this is going to be inside a big room and we're going to seal the whole thing up. For now this will be just fine. So what we want to do is the pipe from here is going to come out like this. It's going to feed into our polymer presses. And then it's going to come up here and go to here. And it will feed out until it makes a layer here, and then it will shut it off. And so that's all the petroleum stuff that we're going to do for right now. This will also make us the plastics. We need to have power for all of these things. So let's do another little setup over here where we put in a large power transformer. We're going to connect that like this, and we're going to run a power line over like that. Final thing we need is just ladders to get us across to do all of those things. Okay, so we get all that stuff built. We should be good to go. I want to disconnect this oil line, even though I just made it right there just for now, so that I can get this built, sealed up, and get the carbon dioxide pumped out of here before we start releasing the natural gas, because it'll be much easier on me later. Setup is complete. We vacuumed out all of our carbon dioxide from this room and pumped it down into our carbon dioxide storage, and now we are pumping in our first load of oil to the oil refinery so that we can have a duplicate go in and make some petroleum. We have it set up so that natural gas will come out of here and get run into our generators whenever this gets to 500 grams. And the petroleum will lead all the way through till here, but it'll stop and make plastics first. So once we have petroleum running, which we now do, it'll go in here, it'll get stored in these two steel reservoirs. As soon as the autosave lets me see it. And it will get pumped right out. We'll go through and we'll start producing our very first plastics. And then here we have some petroleum available for us to grab, for us to use for liquid locks and other things. And like I said, these produce steam, and there's no outlet for it to go anywhere. It just goes into the atmosphere, and as long as it's not so hot in here that it stays as steam, it just builds up as a little bit of water on the floor. If it gets to the point where we get more of it, we might have to change this setup, but I think we should be fine. We can always just mop some of it up when it starts getting too high, or put in a pump if we need to. So that's good. We have natural gas coming out. We'll get that pumped out. We're going to make some plastics. But what we needed the plastic for is for us to make our dehydrator and our rehydrator. So let's see. As far as plastics go, we have 60 kilograms. We need 100. So one more operation, we should have it. But what we need to consider is where we're going to put our dehydrator. Oh, I got too much wrong element damage here? Why is nobody fixing this? That's odd. It looks like we used up all of our natural gas too. What's going on here? Too hot in here? Okay. I guess I should have left the liquid lock I made here in the... After all. Let's do... pump. We'll get in here, we'll fix that. As far as the food dehydrator goes, what it requirements are is it's going to need natural gas to run, just like the gas range does. It's going to need power, so we can put all that here. But the thing that we need to set up is that the food dehydrator, since it's dehydrating the food, also has water that spills out from it. So what I'm going to do to solve that issue is I want to put the food dehydrator right up here in this space. I'm going to do space to put it down where it's mesh tiles, and then next to that we're going to set up a miniature pump. And then from the mini pump, we're gonna run a line here, and this line here that goes from our pump here goes and is just going into the sorting. So even though this is used for the sewer line, that gets run into the filter. So any water that gets pumped from here will go up through here into the same pipe and get sent up to get processed into our water storage. Oh, I have one too far wide on that. So we're gonna put... Let's do it like that. That'll be fine. We'll put a block there. So now we need to get power for this system. And we need to get a gas line to pump in natural gas. And then that should be set up. Let's see, we also want to put in a shipping auto sweeper. This one we want it to be able to reach down to grab the surf and turf that comes out and put it up here. And that'll reach both. So then we can connect this here. So our duplicates will be able to come over and handle this building. And we'll be able to get the water out, we'll have gas coming in, and we'll have power there. Okay, so everything should be set up there. We do need to get in here and fix this pump. So let's set this to do water. And I'll set up a gas lock to get in there and swap that pump out for a steel one. I knew it was gonna break, and that's probably why I was trying to get in there, and then I forgot about it. These things happen. I believe we have everything set up now so that we can follow the process for our food. I just had some more Pacu fillet delivered. So this has what it needs so that we can cook some cooked seafood. So as soon as my cook gets here, he'll do that. Cooked seafood, once it gets cooked, gets dropped onto the floor, and it gets picked up and put into the gas range. Gas range now has what it needs to make an order of surf and turf. So the cook runs up and makes our surf and turf. Which also gets picked up and put into our dehydrator. Dehydrator will run on its own as long as it has everything. It just needs to be emptied when it's cooked. I haven't been able to set this filter yet because this is the first dehydrated surf and turf we're making. Hopefully the first of many, many more to come. So, as far as I understand it, surf and turf is 6,000 calories. When it is done being made, it's going to come out as 6 units of surf and turf, which will be like 6 1,000 calorie packages that have been dehydrated. We're going to have it go into this loader, which is going to bring it up here to our rehydrator for our duplicates to use. Sure takes its time making it, but that's okay. We're already down here cooking more. The barbecue's sitting here. It'll get put in. We just need more Pacu fillets. We're at full capacity now on the Pacus. We have 45 eggs in here, which is what I expected there to be when it was maxed out. So we're doing good. We're still not using a ton of algae, so we're slowly dipping into it, but we'll just keep on making fish while we can. Okay, so it has now finished making the surf and turf. So somebody has to come along to empty it. So I think that has to be one of our cooks. We'll find out. See who does it. Oh, no, anybody can do it. That's good. That means it's not a cook-required task. Once they empty it, the dehydrated food should come out. Sure, not a fast process, but I don't need it to be fast because it can just keep happening. Once it's done, the food will be preserved. So any dehydrated food, we'll have it get picked up. And like I thought, it gave 6 of them. They get put in there, which then gets shipped up to here. You can see it coming along. 6 little packets of surf and turf. We'll just have them sitting there on the floor. Somebody loads them into the machine. We have water pumped in and surf and turf in there. Maybe if we're lucky, one of these that are about to be done with dinner will eat some surf and turf for their dinner. There we go. Our first duplicate making their first order of surf and turf. They sit and eat it. We have 4 more in there ready to go, and somebody just loaded the 5th one up in. So now we can just keep making dried surf and turf, and they will eat that, which is great. They still get the debuff, or not the debuff, the buff for eating surf and turf, which gives them, let's see. They get the aquatic diet from eating that. And then this was Fry, so let's check out in his skills. Under morale, he got great meal, which is 12 morale. And he ate it in, he ate rehydrated food, which is -1. So ends up being not a great thing for morale that they eat the rehydrated food, but it means that we can save it and it will be preserved forever. It's going to be interesting to use this also when we do space missions. We'll be able to use rehydrated food. So that's the food dehydrator and rehydrator. We're going to let it keep going. They'll just keep on making food. He's making 6 more right now, or Beth is. And we'll be able to just take them, store them. For now, I think I'm just going to leave them sitting right there on the floor because they'll get loaded up when they get loaded up. They're not going to hurt anything. We might put some kind of storage for them. But it's interesting to have food that's preserved without having to worry about doing all the cooling for it. Next thing we're going to probably work on is setting up a spot down here where the barbecue and the cooked seafood can be stored. I might kind of squeeze it in right here. I want to have it somewhere where this auto sweeper can reach it, so that basically the food will get cooked, it'll get thrown into cold storage. This will grab it out of the cold storage and it'll be stored there. I don't need the duplicates to be able to eat it because they're going to eat the surf and turf. And that way, when we're going to end up having more barbecue or more cooked seafood at any given moment. I don't want it to sit here and spoil while we're waiting for the other one to balance out. So we'll set up a coolant system and do that. I also need to set up a coolant system for the base because it's heating up. But all right, that's how the new system works. I'm pretty excited about it. We'll mess around with it some more, but everything is working great. Looks like this episode's probably going to end up being another longer one, but I wanted to get through the new food systems all in these last 2 episodes. But I hope you enjoyed watching them, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.